Thanks, Basil. I just want to give you a bit of an insight into the Saturday afternoon team. We're a bunch of unique individuals.
We start off with round 3, and obviously there were a few unexpected wins, as highlighted by the punishments that the boys had to face. We'll start off with your game, Blair, that you mistakenly tipped, and that was the Bulldogs Brisbane. Jamara Ugelhagen comes back after that racial incident and kicks 5. How big was that in the grand scheme of things?
Yeah, look, incredible and great to see. You got a young bloke here who's probably copped it before, just about being a high draft pick, and he's got pressure to live up to. And, racial comments the prior week. Obviously, Hugo went to Bevo's midweek presser and heard a lot about that and how the boys were supporting him through it. Tough time. Look, he's just a kid. He's come out. He's kicked 5. And incredible performance from him. And I think it's also amiss not to mention him taking a stand. Obviously, for those that didn't see, he pulled up his jumper and pointed to his skin, saying, "I'm black and proud." And I think, Nicky Winmar released a statement. Obviously, he did the same thing probably 30 years ago. And he said he was, proud of Jamara and the club for supporting him through it. And look, I think that's a great thing to come out of the game. And full credit to him for, standing up, having a great game firstly, but also getting back on the park and coming out. It shouldn't be happening anymore. It should have never happened. And, society needs to grow from this, and it can't happen anymore. It's disgraceful. All the players cop it. And it's so far from what should be happening. It's disgusting. But on another front, a more negative, Brisbane are piss week. I tip them as my certainty. I think every year of the last 5, I've genuinely thought, Brisbane, real contenders this year. At the start of the year, I thought they should be contenders. They should be really pushing for a flag, making grand finals, winning them potentially. They've got a very good... Their midfield is... and they've just added Dunkley to it. You got Neil, Dunkley, and McCluggage has always been good, and their forward line is just...
That's the problem.
So inconsistent.
Yeah.
It's hard to watch. It was genuinely hard to watch for that game. Hipwood, Danaher, and Charlie Cameron, every year I get faith in Brisbane. I don't know why I do. I don't know why I do anymore, because every year I think, this is their year. It's not their year. That Bulldogs are going to be a side that's mediocre. And I know they're a bit up and down, and they could pump sides, and they're a bit inconsistent as well. But Brisbane needed to win that and win it well. And I think that's their seed. I know it's 3 rounds in.
Tonight will be a true test against the Pies.
I think they're going to get pumped by the Pies. And I think if they serve up anything like last week, it should be 10 goals. Because they're just... Yeah, I'm not happy with it. I picked them as my certainty, obviously, thinking, we all know why you pick a certainty, and it's pretty disappointing. I won't be picking them as my certainty again this year. Again.
Yeah, I don't know if I held the same faith in Brisbane, just because they fell short so many years. And, they've got some issues, even with the back line as well. Harris Andrews, without him there, they're getting some big scores kicked on them, and that... without Daniel Rich the last few weeks, it's really showed they've been struggling to score and use the ball from their back half as well, with guys like Connor McKenna, who's just come back, and Darcy Wilmot, who's still a young player. So it's tough to get a gauge, because the game they won this year was at the Gabba. They're always really good at the Gabba. But if you can't win in Melbourne and away from home, then you're not much chance of going too far, really, and being a serious contender. Yeah,
and obviously we touched on Pies beating the Tigers last week. Owen, your thoughts on them? Obviously, we were just mentioning the Pies there. Got Brisbane tonight. How do you see that going? And, Pies, they look as closest to anyone seen as there's the real deal. Yeah. Flag favourites, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, no, they're definitely flag favourites, or at least, with a few teams as flag favourites. But, I think at the start of the season, I predicted them to not be in my top 8, but I think that was just wishful thinking. They're strong in all parts of the ground. And, I think tonight will be a test, again, because, it's not easy to play at the Gabba, and Brisbane will be wanting to bounce back after last week. But I think if the Pies can win this week, that's 4 from 4. And, they're really making a statement to the rest of the teams out there.
And 4 from 4, mind you, Geelong, Richmond and it'll be Brisbane in that 4
Yeah.
if they win. And even Carlton they're having a crack, so they haven't had an easy draw either.
No, they haven't. Yeah, for sure.
For Brisbane, they've got to do it without Daniel Rich again. And speaking about playing in Melbourne, we obviously know that record at the G. They managed to beat Melbourne last year, but I think they've won one out of their last 16 or something at the G. I assume Marvel would be similar as well. But yeah, we were speaking about Collingwood before, and they obviously played against Richmond in what was a wet encounter. And the Pies on the scoreboard, they could have, like Blair was alluding to before, they could have got it done earlier. They could have had it wrapped up by half time, but 3 goals 10. Richmond didn't kick goal for 57 minutes. After kicking that first goal, they didn't kick goal for another 57 minutes. The Pies scored 3 goals 8 in that time, and in what was a wet contest, goals were basically like $1 million of that, right? Like, yeah.
Yeah, no, it was like when you say 57 minutes, I sat through that 57. So it was tough being there. But I guess moving on, Hawks got their first win of the season, which, lots of us probably thought might not happen. But North without LDU, and they get rolled.
That was tough, and I knew that would not be a bad sign for the North fans, but also the Supercoach fans. And we got one ourselves, Connor. Was he the one that cost you from winning this week in the draft against Blair?
Yeah, absolutely.
What you had comments on LDU about his calf soreness?
Yeah, well, the comments were made in a bit of a state of rage, really, just due to my really poor start. Like, I did a lot of preparation, as you boys know, and talked myself up really to be a contender, and to be 0-3 to start the year. It's bitterly disappointing, and I've lost to some lackluster opponents, really. So that doesn't really say much. That says
3 of us are in the room.
that doesn't speak too badly
brave.
of me. Well, a couple of them, but
Oh my God.
yeah, some are better than
So
others.
target to Hugo. but
Some are better than others. Sort of more towards Hugo than anyone else.
Second on the ladder.
What did you get? 1,300 this week, something like that. But yeah, it was disappointing. Definitely cost me. And look, I said at the time he was out with calf tightness. I said, well, just give him a rub, just loosen it up. He could have got out there and played. Yeah, I don't really understand this calf tightness. Just give it a stretch, mate. Just give it a rub, give it a stretch. I know if you go into the game and before the bounce it's tight, you're more prone to injury. But I feel like they could have done something to get him going. And if that's a really big game or a final, he's playing every day of the week. So yeah, I'm not really about this sort of resting players just because they're 90% rather than 100. Sometimes you got to push through the pain, and it cost me that week. And hopefully he's back in this week. I'd assume he would be if he hasn't done anything further with it. But yeah, it's looking quite grim for my draft side, and my classic's looking better. But the draft is one that really matters, and we're a win-loss industry, and I'm not going that well, so it doesn't bode well for me at the moment. So
Yeah.
gonna have to come good very soon.
Now I'm going to intervene here. Blair was very quick to change to the Hawks and North game. Is there a reason why you have changed so quickly?
No comment. I think if you listen to last week's comments, and that was me. If you listen to last week's comments, I think I got that one quite wrong. But we're no stranger to getting tips wrong at the moment. Look at my hair, boys. So yeah, let's move on.
It actually suits you.
Well, you did actually tip correctly. You did actually tip correctly on Friday night, so we will.
Yep.
Yeah,
put that in
Tipped
place.
against your own
and
team.
I still copped it. So I'm a lose-lose.
Because you
at
tipped
the
against
moment.
your own team.
It was the right correct tip, was it?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Anyway, we'll move on to GWS and Carlton, and Carlton remained undefeated with a 10-point win over GWS. One story from the game was their inaccuracy, 9 goals 20, so it could have been a lot greater, that lead. But yeah, Paddy Cripps, 42 disposals and 13 clearances.
Just on the Paddy Cripps performance, take nothing away from him, but it was ranked the 7th worst game ever by someone with 40-plus touches
Oh, wow.
by Champion Data.
Well, there you go.
Well, Champion Data, we all know, is a bit dodgy.
The
with some of
stats
the
man's
stats.
overworked here.
But Patrick Cripps' kicking, it's still a bit of an issue. It's just a high bomb every time. these boys would know with Timmy Torino going through it at the moment. But Cripps, he's a great player, but that kicking I reckon, is really detrimental. Like, it helps that they've got Curnow and Mackay down there, but he just needs to flatten his kick a bit and pick a target rather than just blasting every time.
Yeah, and I have the man on Supercoach draft, I believe. I saw on the news 42 touches. I'm like, you ripper. Like, what, 8 clearances? Did you say something like that? 13. Yeah, there you go. And I was like, I'm in for a massive one. Tommy Stewart's just locked in 167. I'm laughing. 112. So I was like, oh, well. I mean, I didn't even have to look at the stats. No, it must have been a great 42. But, I mean, 13 clearances. Clearances are clearances, I guess. But, yeah, Cripper, he has won a Brownlow. I mean, yeah. Whether or not we agree with that.
Yeah. Anyway, he's got a few things to work on, that's for sure, even though it sounds funny saying that, the fact that he has won a Brownlow and stuff like that, and continues to have games like that. But, yeah, his kicking's always been a bit of a knock on him for goal or around the ground. So if he can improve that, it could be ultimately very damaging. But he's got to have to work on it.
Yeah. Well, here you go. 150th anniversary for the Saints. They're 3-0 for the first time since 2010. Started off strong. First 5 goals of the game. And to begin with, before Essendon even scored, you got 27 of those 34 points from turnovers. Right? What are your thoughts on what Ross Lyon has done for the Saints this year?
Well, I think he's just played to our strength. Like I said last week, our strength is our defence. So he's just brought in that defensive game plan, which has suited us to a T. And you look at it, like he said it in his first press conference for St Kilda, that we can run. We've got 12 blokes who can run sub-10-minute 3K time trials. Like, we're a fit team. And, he said it before round 1, with our concerning injury list. He said, don't worry about that. The 23 blokes who were picked, they'll all be fit, 100% fit, and they can run. So we can outrun a lot of teams, which was our strength in the first half of last year. We outran, like you look at the first half, we were always tight in those 11 games, but the second half we blew teams away to an extent just because we were just so much fitter than everyone else, I reckon, and then injuries started to mount up. But, even this year with our injuries, we're only going to get stronger as a team. So I'm really happy with Ross, and I do apologise for the comments I made last year about him. But I'm pretty happy with Ross at the moment.
Yeah, has the newest Saints supporter got any thoughts on that?
Look, they've despite what I've said before, I've apologised now, and rightly so, because I got it a fair bit wrong. They've been impressive, you'd have to say, with the injuries that they've got. New coach coming in, there was a few unknowns really, and wonders of sort of how they'd go, and they've just sort of got the job done, and played a pretty solid brand of footy and not really had too many lulls like they kind of previously have in game, which obviously you end up getting a better result from that. And they've got a great chance to go 4-0 this week. So, it's looking good for them. And, exciting time to be a Saints fan and a Saints player as well.
Yeah. Well, if we look at other results of the round, we've got the Crows kick last 6 of the game to win by 31 points. Jordan Dawson wins the showdown medal. Then the D's kick 7 in the last to win by 50 points. And then we look at Freo. Freo got their first win of the season by winning by 41 points. Caleb Sarong won the Glendenning Allen medal there. But there is one game we do have to touch on. It does involve your Cats, Owen. They're the first reigning premiers to be 0-3 since 1976. A loss this week will make them the second team ever to start 0-4 as the reigning premiers. There are some stats that I want to roll through. They were 6th last year at disposals. Now they're 17th. Disposal efficiency from 9th to 16th. Inside 50s from 1st to 13th. Clangers 9th to 18th. And they're 18th in clearances as well. I suppose your thoughts.
Okay. Let's start with the stats. I don't really care too much about stats just because, like, they're a distraction and, they're trying to make us sound like a bad club, even though they might be true. But, like, it's more than just that. I think, I've said it before, we miss Joel Selwood. A lot of the young players aren't stepping up yet. What else? Experienced players as well. Playing patches. Not really playing with the system. Look, I think if we do not beat the Hawks this Monday, Easter Monday, then serious trouble. But look, I'm not trying to make any excuses, but we do have a lot of home games late on second half of the season, and I know that we play well at home. I don't know. I feel like with Geelong last season we took a little while to get going as well. So I think a few players, Hawkins needs to do something because I don't know what he's doing at the moment. But look, I don't know. It's tough at the moment to see this as a Geelong supporter because you're not really used to it, and you're getting all the criticism and everyone's hating on you. But look, it's still early stages of the year, but definitely not ideal.
Yeah. And Connor, you obviously tipped Geelong as your certainty. What did you make of the performance from the Cats?
I just had a lot of faith in them coming in, clearly, but it looked a scrappy contest. But I don't think both teams played particularly well. Like Gold Coast, they weren't using it that well, but they kind of just sort of stuck with it on defense and made sure they didn't bleed and leak goals. But it was whatever team was just able to use it better and take their chances, particularly late. And Gold Coast were able to do that, I guess. And look, you'd have to say they played an all right brand of footy in the end. But both teams, were below their best.
I'm gonna stop you there. I think it was one of the worst games I've ever watched, not just from a Geelong perspective, but in general. Both teams played so bad. Honestly, it was such a scrappy contest. Good conditions to play up in the Gold Coast, and it was the most frustrating game to watch. And I know Geelong were on the back foot for most of the game, trying to play a bit of catch-up ball. But just in general, even Gold Coast were mucking up a lot of the ball. And I guess that is that panic stations for Geelong, considering how bad we played. But, I think we just need a bit more time, but we got to really work it out sooner or later. But, it's such a bad game, one of the worst games I've ever watched in my life.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it was scrappy, and Gold Coast took a few chances late, and that was the difference. But, they obviously played, far from 4 quarters of good football. So that it was a weird sort of game in the end. But David Swallow's 200th was good to see. And, with the trade and player movement these days, you rarely see a player sort of spend 200 games in, 11 or 12 years at the one club, especially when they've been so weak as a team. So it's pretty reflective of the bloke, I guess. And there's a lot of respect that needs to be shown to him for sticking with his side when, he's seen players just countlessly just go out the door year on year and sacrifice success really for just loyalty and being there and trying to take the club further. So, he deserves some good to come of it, and hopefully in these next couple of years and towards the back end of David Swallow's career that they can have a bit of success and, win on the regular because he sort of deserves that, and you don't often see players hang around that long, especially when the team's pretty average throughout his career.
Yeah. Well, that's round 3 done and dusted. I'm going to flick over to round 4 now. You obviously know what the repercussions are, or especially Owen and Hugo, you know what not to do when it comes to your certainties. And Blair and Connor, I think you realise what not to do either because, if something, if it happens again, the repercussions will get stricter and stricter as we go through. So just keep that in mind. You're tipping for your livelihood here. All right, let's look at round 4. So obviously we've got a big game tonight, Easter Thursday clash between Brisbane and Collingwood. Collingwood have lost their last 4 against Brisbane and are going in with not really conventional ruckman, especially with Darcy coming out for 6 to 8 weeks. And they've got the likes of Cox, Kruger, and Begg still on the sidelines. Dan McStay and Ash Johnson have been named as the rucks. Boys, how do we see this game going? Start off with Owen.
Pies to win.
Yep.
Yeah, it'll be an intriguing contest because, Brisbane have copped a bit of flack and Collingwood missing ruckman, but I think Collingwood will be too good. Add to Brisbane's woes.
Yeah, I think Collingwood would win, but I reckon it'll be a tight one.
Yeah, despite without a ruckman, Pies still get it done.
There we go. All right. North and Carlton, Good Friday. No Ben Mackay, so they still haven't lined up against each other. Billy Brownless did have a theory that they're the same person.
They are the same person. I've got that theory too.
Fair enough. Can the Roos bounce back, or will Carlton remain undefeated?
No, I think Carlton remain undefeated and they'll win this one.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think North will have a better showing to previous years in this fixture, but I think they still won't get it done.
I'll go North.
All right.
Yeah, I was going to go North as well. I feel like LDU's back and I feel like Carlton 4-0 just doesn't work for me.
Well, one of them was a draw, so.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
But no, I feel like they'll get their first loss, even though they're having a crack.
Yeah, well, yeah, it would definitely be a good contest. We go to Saturday afternoon and Adelaide hosts Freo. Thoughts on that game?
I reckon it'll be a good game, actually, at Adelaide Oval. I'm going to back the Crows. Again, I think close contest. Definitely not a certainty, but I think, Crows will win that.
Yeah, both teams are 1 and 2, but Adelaide are playing, I'd say, a fair bit better footy, so I think the Crows will get up.
Yeah, I reckon the Crows at home get up.
Yeah, Adelaide.
The Tigers face the Dogs on the Saturday twilight game. Can the Dogs string consecutive wins together? Obviously, they had the task of beating Brisbane last week. Will they go back to back, or will Richmond bounce back after Friday's loss?
Yeah, Richmond will bounce back. Richmond win that.
Yeah, I'd like to think the Tigers will get up. It's always tough with the Doggies because a bit of a bogey side and their best is well and truly good enough, especially when their midfield gets going. But hopefully the Tigers can get it done reasonably comfortably.
Yeah, Tigers get it done.
Yeah, I think we have Hopper and Short, a couple back this week, so Tigers get it done.
Yeah. I believe Short is still out, but
There was a couple.
Hopper
I think
and Dusty are back.
Dusty's
Dusty,
back,
yeah. So
Yeah. Now we go to Saturday night, and the Saints are taking on Gold Coast, and Saints can go 4-0 for the first time since 2010, and potentially set up a showdown with Collingwood, a gather round next week. Actually, we'll start with Blair this time. Thoughts?
yeah, the Saints are on top of the ladder and they'll beat Gold Coast. Despite Gold Coast will be up and about though. Good game, I think.
Yeah.
I think St Kilda win. It'll be a very tight game. I know I see Owen shaking his head, but St Kilda last year was the first time since 2018 that we'd beat Gold Coast by less than or more than 10 points. I think we had 5 games there decided by a combined margin of 21 points in about, and St Kilda won all of them, but it's not easy on the heart.
Yeah, no, I reckon the Saints will get up. Obviously, Gold Coast won last week, but Saints are playing better footy, and I don't see them losing. I can see it being sort of tight again, but I think Saints are probably going to have a bit too much at the moment.
Saints back at the Fortress, the concrete Miracle Stadium, Marvel Stadium. I reckon Saints will thump Gold Coast by 8 goals.
Is that a bit of heart there from last week? You just want to see them get pumped?
Gold Coast aren't that good.
Is that a certainty?
They're really not that
I
good.
know, but is you saying that
And they're
again
back-
just because you lost to them?
No. I told you both teams played terrible.
Are you making the Saints a certainty?
No, but I'd
Go
rather,
on, do it.
No, I'm back. I want to do Geelong as my certainty, but we'll get to that.
So we've got 3 games to go, and not one certainty. So interesting there. So Easter Sunday in the afternoon, we've got Essendon taking on GWS at Marvel. Will Essendon get back on track, or will Adam Kingsley's men have something to do there?
Did we miss Sydney Port?
Yeah,
we
we
did.
might
We
backtrack,
might have.
backtrack to that one just for a sec.
Sydney beat
Sydney
Port,
and
though.
Port. Yeah.
Sydney beat Port. That's my certainty.
All right.
I'm tempted to go Sydney. I won't, but Sydney will thump Port, I think. Bounce back from last week's loss.
Yep, Sydney will beat Port.
All right. Now the question I asked: Essendon GWS.
Up the Dons.
Giants.
Giants.
I'm going to go with the Giants as well. I think, I think they can play some good footy, and I don't know. I'm still not sold at all on the Dons, even though they're playing a bit better.
I reckon Bombers.
All right. West Coast of Melbourne, taking it to Perth. Do we give West Coast a chance here?
Look at the odds.
Despite being at Perth, this is my certainty. D's will win.
Yeah, look at the odds. $8 for West Coast.
Yeah, but when it's that far, you get a bit nervous, and
Melbourne
look,
are good.
They can't.
They look good.
Melbourne can't lose this. They can't lose. If they lose, I don't know. You might not see me for a long time, and it's just up the D's.
Yeah, D's get it done.
Yeah, the D's looked really, really good last week, and I can't see them getting done. So this is gonna have to be my certainty as well. I know there's a couple other games that you could go, but
You're a coward.
I'm treading on pretty thin ice here, mate.
As am I, mate. So
Yeah,
we hope West Coast
Yeah,
win.
now if we get that game, we're both on the
We're-
chopping block for a second.
It's either both
I know,
safe
but
or
we're
you're
both treading
the
on
top
very
block.
thin ice here. So I've gone like the certainty of all certainties. You know, West Coast last week, McGovern's gone for a long time, Ryan's gone, Cripps broke his ankle,
Yeah.
Shuey did his hammy as well, doesn't need surgery, but still pretty bad, and they're already missing blokes. So I think they're missing 10 or 11 of their best 22, and it was like this as well last year.
Back like 2020.
I'm
COVID
already
days.
It was
already nervous
It
though.
was like this the last few years. So
They've
West
got
Coast have
nothing
had
to lose.
West Coast have a torrid run really since 2018.
They've got nothing to lose. They got blokes that you don't know who they are coming in. It makes me a bit nervous. But the Van Ruin to kick 4.
Is that another
Fair
added
shout.
certainty on there?
Not a certainty, but a
Oh,
good call.
Mate, that's probably a certainty. He could kick 8, honestly. He could go.
Do you want
come
to
out
take it
and
as a
kick 8.
certainty and have double the pain if...
I'm not. No, we're not. That was never part of the agreement with this sort of little add-ons. But like, I just think I'm
I'll
just
just
really
shave a
confident.
line down the middle of your head and then we'll go from there.
I don't know about that. But I'm just really confident he's going to kick goals, and I think Fritsch could have a huge day out as well. Benny Brown as well. So
I'm on your tip, mate.
it's bad.
Do you go on the D's or are you changing...
No, D's.
Yeah.
100%.
Easter Monday, it's going to be a big clash. Geelong and Hawthorn, bottom of the table clash. It's not... It doesn't look like a generic bottom of the table clash on paper, but we'll start off with you, Owen, because
Geelong will get their first win, and that's my certainty.
Yeah,
Okay.
Cats will get their first win,
Yeah.
and I can do it pretty easily.
Cats winning a tight one.
I'm going to do it.
You're an idiot.
It worked last week and you said the same thing.
Well, but now you are an idiot.
Hawthorn. It's always a close game between these two clubs. Bottom of the table clash.
Do you feel sick in the stomach?
No, I feel confident.
So you're saying Owen will be 4? You was 3
Absolutely.
last week.
Not my words, Mansell's. But,
It doesn't
yeah.
even make sense anymore.
It does make sense.
It doesn't.
It just gets better as weeks go by.
It's not funny.
Not for you, dude, but
Stop it.
for the
Well-
general consensus, he's inside, he's hurting.
Well, we do look at the match. Hawks won the last game. Geelong got over the line by 5 points in 2021. So book it in Monday afternoon. Should be a ripper of a clash. So
They're always close, so I feel like, Geelong, it's fair saying that they probably should win, but there'd be few nerves, I think, there.
yeah,
Yeah, for sure. But once we get
Like,
going,
you'd
we'll
be more
right.
confident playing a side like Gold Coast again, I would think, rather than Hawthorn.
I don't know. They're both bad teams.
Yeah, but this is like, they've got a bit of play for, Like last year, Hawks were, 16th, and they rolled you?
Why can't we just play at GMHBA?
The true colours are coming out.
Too many MCG games. Oh, anyway. Let's look at the Supercoach. Obviously, round 3 results. Blair got his first win against his brother.
On the board, baby.
On the board. Hugo got his first loss with a pretty low score with 1,537. The lowest in the league.
Yeah,
So
lowest this week.
concerning signs, Hugo, or will you bounce back?
Wheels are off.
Oh, look, you win some and you learn some. And it was a learning opportunity for me this week. But no, I'm confident I'll bounce back. I don't even know which Burns boy I've got this week, but, that's a walk in the park.
Blair.
No, that's a walk in the park.
as much as this is not my segment, my question is, what did you learn from your Supercoach loss?
Just pay attention to the ins and outs from other teams that aren't St Kilda. That would be handy.
Yeah, right. Well, as the ladder stands, Connor, you are 0-3, haven't won a game yet. and life doesn't become easier. You've got me this week.
That's incredible.
we got-
it's fair, but you can't say that.
it's fair, though.
You can't say that. That's like your opinion.
Gee, someone's
I've
had
been
more
stiff.
self-indulgence
I've
comments than
scored
I
a
have.
fair few points overall. It's just the weeks I've gone. I'm like, I was.
Yeah, Mansell, mate. The amount of self-indulgence has come from you the last
Yeah.
20
I'm
episodes.
talking about it in an episode.
No,
To be fair,
mate.
though, on the
It's
Supercoach
1-0.
on the Supercoach thing,
We've given away away goals.
Connor scored the second most in the league, and he's 0-3. Look, so you've got to feel a little bit for him. The 1-7-9-2 loss to Owen is still stinging him. That's hurting.
It was a great performance by me. I don't know how I didn't get up, but anyway, I'll put some work into it and hopefully claim a big scalp this week.
He's learnt that you can trade now, so you look, he might actually do a trade or two.
Well, I tried to last week, and let's be honest, they were a bit ridiculous. So Owen knocked them back straight away in class.
Oh,
I tried. To
oh!
trade a
Don't
few.
tell me he just thinks he can propose trades. You can actually get free players.
No. But there's
Okay.
no one else out there. Really. No one else that's any good. We picked them all. We picked.
Well, Tommy Stewart was there last week, mate. No boys saw that.
Well, we picked pretty much 88 of the best 110 players.
Yeah,
So,
still 20-30 out there.
Blair, you're third. Again, got your first win. Hugo's second. And obviously, your clash this week will determine, I guess, who gets second place, depending on percentage, of course. And
Yeah, I'll need a very big win to get second.
I think your percentage is lacking a bit. 93 is the lowest in the league, so you need a bit of a booster.
I think, I got you on a week where you had a good week,
Yeah,
and I had a really bad
you
one.
got 1-5 something.
And you got
15.
well over 8, 1-8. So that's put me in the ground, really, with the percentage. But look, the wins, if I can get the wins, percentage doesn't
Mate,
matter.
make top 4, you're in finals,
Yeah, look, I just want to make the top 4.
which you will.
which I already have. And look, I was saying to Hugo and Connor on the way to the pod this morning, a quote that stuck in my mind is Owen did say, if he's nervous about it, at Billy Darcy, we're sitting there having a palm, he said, look, if I'm nervous about anyone in the league right now, this year, pointy end, it's you. And look, I take that as a compliment, and I'm going to use that with confidence. And my team's very good, right? If I have a good week, I think I can knock you off.
That's why because if he's got some good players, if they can all perform, they could probably outperform any of our teams if they have a good performance.
I feel like now...
Hugo, don't give me that eye, mate. I've seen your team. It's pretty bang average.
I feel like Connor and Hugo, no, this is no disrespect. Most weeks, even if they have a good
It's
week,
disrespect.
if you
as
and I
soon
have
as you say that.
yeah, even if you guys have, look, I think the ladder's not how it should be yet. I think once I get to second, then the ladder is the way it should stand. I think if Connor and Hugo have a good week, I know Hugo, you knocked me off, didn't you?
I did.
Let's forget about that. But I think if Owen and I have a good week, you boys have a good week, we still win.
Yeah, I don't agree at all. But I've got
Connor,
a lot
you
of...
got Zach Bailey in your team.
I know,
mate.
I've got a lot of homework
and who'd you take him out for?
Jade Gresham.
Yeah, that was a shot.
I've got a lot, but Zach Bailey, he's
Hugo's
such
looking at the
he's
waiver
such a
wire.
good player. Maybe not Supercoach good, but he's a good player.
We're
but
talking about Supercoach.
but normally he's going to get more than 39. But I've got a lot of homework to do because I've got to take Darcy Cameron out, Liam Ryan. I put him in for some reason. Got injured. I was struggling. So when you have two blokes that play forward and get
Why do you put
39,
Liam Ryan?
Owen just has to turn up this week.
when you have two blokes that play forward get 39, you know you're obviously always going to lose. And then LDU didn't even play, so lost 150 there. But you know, I know I haven't had a good run with injuries. Let's be fair. But I know it'll turn sooner rather than later, hopefully. And I'm going to play finals, so that's what I'm happy about. But hopefully I can reshape the ladder and hopefully I can change the order a bit. It's too late for me, but you know, I'll have a crack still.
No, fair enough. Yeah.
Rightio. All right. We get stuck into the NBA. I do get that usually it's footy season, so it's predominantly footy. But the NBA season is just wrapping up. We're getting to the pointy end now. And the season ends on Monday, but I want to specifically take a look at the West because that's not set yet. It's like there's about 3 games left, and there's about 9 teams that could, pretty much take the final spots. There's 3 spots left in the playoffs themselves to book a spot, and then there's still the 4 play-in spots. So I want to have a look as Hugo is watching the Clippers and Lakers game, which is a pivotal match in the final basically in the final rounds. I want to get your thoughts, boys, as to who you think are going to take those, 7 spots from 4 to 10, keeping in mind that, there are some teams with different records. As it stands at the moment, as of yesterday, it was Phoenix in 4, Golden State 5th, then the Clippers, the Lakers, Pelicans, Timberwolves, OKC rounds out the play-ins, then Dallas and Utah on the outer. Firstly, do you see either Dallas or Utah, getting in? And also, how will it line up from 4 to 10? We'll start off with whoever's ready. I know, Connor, you're ready. If you want to, just give your predictions.
Yeah, I don't see those two sides getting in. I've got obviously top 3 set. Well, pretty much. I've got Phoenix 4th, Golden State 5th. I do have Lakers 6th and then Clippers 7th, but as we speak, Clippers has got a handy lead at half time, so that one could be in a bit of doubt, but I'm going to stick with it. Timberwolves 8th, the Pelicans 9, and OKC 10th. So not too many changes there. I think the switch might just be the LA teams, but that's looking a bit in doubt at the moment.
Hugo, obviously, mathematically speaking, especially if you lose this one, but you won't be able to finish 4th. Where have you got your teams lining up?
Well, I've got the Suns at 4th. I don't think anyone will catch them for the 4th place. I'll keep the Warriors at 5. I'll go Lakers at 6, even though we are getting belted at the moment. Russell Westbrook, he's a petty man. Honestly, I've never seen him play that well in my life. I'll go Clippers at 7, Pelicans 8, Timberwolves 9, Thunder 10. And, it's a bit mind-blowing to think that the Mavericks aren't even going to get a playing game. Yeah, it's shocking from them.
Blair, if you want to go.
Yeah, look, I'll go the 4 to 10 as it stands right now. Looking at it, there's a bit of wishful thinking in there. Look, I've done my homework in the last 80 seconds.
Oh, I was going to say.
And, I've went into bat for the Warriors every single week. And we're 5th. And we look solid, but looking at our final 2 games, they're both away games. And our away record is 9-30. So
That's very bad.
I don't think we can
so
miss. Actually, no. I'm going to change that. I don't think we can miss the 10. But
Can't.
You're not missing the 10, bro.
You can't.
no, but we could easily. Other teams have 3 games. We've got 2. If we lose both those, we finish on 42 wins, and we've got 3 sides behind us, 1 win behind us, which I think that we lose both, they overlap us.
Yeah.
I say we probably finish. I say the 4 to 10 as it is, except swap, just bump Warriors down to 9.
To 9.
And I know, I don't want that, but our away record 9-30, like that hurts to look at. And I searched up Warriors fixture for the last 2. And clicked on it, just praying we had a couple home games, and it was 2 away games. So against Sacramento and Portland.
That game against Sacramento, it doesn't do you justice.
Yeah,
but
I think you'll beat Portland, but Sacramento up in the air.
Yeah.
So the 4 to 10 as it stands, just bump Warriors down to 9.
Owen?
I don't think much changes. I think Clippers, if they win today, I think they'll take over Warriors. Suns 4, Clippers 5th, Warriors 6th. I think Lakers stay 7th. And I think the rest stay the same. I think that I'm going to say Mavs 10th, they take over Thunder. Because they won today. They caught up against Sacramento.
Oh, they beat Sacramento?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep, so that being said, that would, if they win all 3, they'll be 40 and 42. And OKC will have to beat Memphis, which will be a tough encounter.
Exactly. So it's interesting in the West, but yeah.
Yeah. So the way that I see it, I don't think anyone's catching Phoenix. They're on a 6-game winning streak, and they've got Denver tomorrow, then the Lakers. I do think the Clippers will beat them though on Monday, just because everything will be on the line, and Phoenix will probably start resting players and stuff like that. I reckon with their spot locked in pretty much. I think the Clippers will get it done. I did see the Lakers beating the Clippers, but that sounds like it's not going to happen. So That being said, the Clippers will be outright fifth. I did have them fifth anyway. I still reckon the Lakers in sixth, though. Even if they lose to... actually, how does it work? No, if that's the case, then Golden State will overtake them. But I did have down here that the Lakers were finished sixth. Golden State to be seventh in the play-in. I think they get it done against Portland, just won't beat Sacramento. New Orleans and Minnesota on Monday is going to be an interesting contest, even though they'll probably play each other in the play-in. I reckon the Pelicans get it done. Minnesota been a bit ordinary this year. It's just been a bit here or there. Dallas winning does make it interesting. They still have to win all their games, but I would not be surprised if they dropped one of their games against Chicago or San Antonio, just the way they've been going, but it doesn't look likely. When I did it yesterday, I did have OKC making the 10 because they would beat Utah and give that loss to Memphis. But yeah, Utah, no chance of making it. They've lost their last three. It's been a fall from grace, like I should say. They were on top at one stage and now they're 12th and they'll probably stay there. But yeah, if Dallas miss out, it'll make Boston the only team that Kyrie hasn't ruined to the core. Because that being said, I get that, he won a championship at Cleveland, but the moment he left, he went glory hunting. He ruined them. And although he went to Boston, Boston are still in the picture.
I wouldn't say Kyrie's ruined the Mavs. He's doing his job at the moment.
Doing his job at ruin? Look at where Dallas were before they got Kyrie.
You look at Luka's performance since they've got Kyrie. It hasn't been Luka-like. It's been pretty ordinary from the great man.
But no Kyrie, Luka plays the way he plays.
I just haven't seen enough from him since the trade deadline. But Kyrie's actually been doing his job pretty well as a good point
Just
guard.
let me have my hate for Kyrie. Yeah. Sorry, you were saying?
Yeah, I just think Kyrie's probably getting a bit too much hate with the Mavs thing. But, he's playing pretty well at the moment, Kyrie. So I wouldn't put the Mavs on Kyrie.
One final bone to pick. The Bulls are 10th. They can't miss 10th. Is that right? So they're going to...
Yeah, so they're locked in for a playing game.
Okay, sweet. So I'm still in the hunt with my call from before the season.
Yeah, very finely.
Very outside, but a rank outsider, I said they'd return to their former glory with MJ and go all the way, but look, they're going to play. They
will most likely have to play the Bucks in the first round if they get past the play.
I retract all statements. Moving on. No more bonus to pick.
But yeah, no, it looks like, did Milwaukee get the win against Chicago? As if they...
I haven't checked.
Mr.
Yeah, they did.
Looking at the game. Yep, so that means Milwaukee have locked in top spot. Boston looks likely to be second. I don't see Philly catching them, even though Boston have been a bit ordinary as of late, been a bit mediocre. But yeah, I mean, we look to the playoffs now, and the play-in starts on Wednesday. So that is Australian Eastern Standard Time, just to keep that in mind. But yeah, so should be good. Will be interesting to see what happens, especially in the West, where any man and their dog are pretty much fighting for it, and it could be anyone that gets into the Western Conference. Yeah.
Jeez, I reckon that's everything, is it?
I reckon it is. Far out.
Fair marathon.
That's going to be broken into two parts, I reckon, Mansell.
Yeah, it will be broken into two parts.
Fair enough.
Because,
I'll be
like
up,
I said, Connor spoke for most of it. So, yeah.
Jeez, man.
Hate on Connor Day. That's pretty good. But
Take it outside, I reckon.
Yeah.
I reckon.
take it to the car park, mate. I'll take you with one leg. So
We do have a couple of announcements to make. Obviously, basketball is starting up next Sunday. So,
I registered 3 days ago.
yeah. So I won't be playing, but
And Connor and I will be very drunk that night. So if you do want to come and watch a good game, we'll tell you where it is, because Connor and I will be lucky to be able to stand. And that's
most likely playing blindfolded.
We got Cruiser Slab Day on the day, starting at about 1 p.m. So we got to down a slab between two people as quick as we can. So
Yeah, well, look, I might not be playing anyway. We'll see. It's because that's day after footy, so if I'm not right for footy, I won't be right for basketball. But
We're relying on Mason.
it's quite an untimely
Yeah, we
injury,
are.
but yeah, we'll see how we go.
Yeah.
Mason, Hugo, Owen, and myself, the big four. We'll have to get it done.
Yeah, but no, it should be good. But yeah.
But yeah, and then Ultimate Athlete Series will be on at some stage after
Easter.
So obviously, uni, we have a break next week. The podcast will still be going ahead, but at some stage after that, it will be coming soon. So be on the lookout for that. So yeah.
Right. All right, boys. Good
Well done,
episode there. Thank
Well
you
done.
to all the listeners out there and viewers. Make sure to check our socials, and we'll see you all next week.